Why is the race so close? These races are always close. It's the election of the President of the United States. And everyone in an election for President of the United States will critically examine all of the issues and make a decision.
Ah, yes. That's Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. She was being fluffed on Morning Joke this morning. That's what it's like to be a Democrat. I think she's the Morning Joke czar. Or is that Czarina? I prefer Czarina. Bum. Ba-dum, bum, bum. Well, happy Monday and welcome. Oh, is the heat wave over? We got a heat wave. Everybody's really upset. Oh, it's the end of the world. Either that or it's summertime in Washington, D.C., summertime in the Northeast, summertime in the Northern Hemisphere. Oh, no. So terrifying. Good thing the patriarchy created air conditioning. You're welcome. Anything else you'd like? Anything else we can do for you? Pipe down over there. Yeah, a little warm weather. We did have a little warm weather. And it was pretty warm. Yeah, my best girl and I, we were out and about, and we did some hiking, and we dined outdoors down actually on 14th Street in Washington, D.C. at this restaurant where several people have been shot in the last year. Yeah, but it's D.C. What are you going to do? Not go out just because people got shot there? Come on. Lead diplomat. They got a good cheeseburger there. And it was too crowded inside because everybody was out and about, even though the big heat wave. So we sat outside in the patio, and it was perfectly lovely and had a nice time. And I had a cold beer. It wasn't cold enough. It should have been colder, quite honestly, but it was okay. It was fine. And we walked around the neighborhood down there, 14th Street, and there was some spray-painted graffiti, a Democrat with a can of spray paint, spray-painted Free Gaza on the side of a building, like a limestone building, a stone building here in Washington, D.C. Can of spray paint and spray-painted Free Gaza. And somebody came along with another can of spray paint and crossed out Gaza and wrote hostages with another can of spray paint. I thought that was kind of fun. I should have taken a picture of it, but I didn't. We were just strolling, making fun of the world, and everything going on in it. But I hope you had a lovely weekend. We went out last night, new restaurant in the neighborhood. So we went out last night and, palling around with people. We don't have a swimming pool to hang out at, but if we had, I think that would have been a good way to spend the weekend too, because it was a little warm. And now today it's supposed to be in the 80s, which is beautiful in Washington, D.C., and but we're just on pause now before we start complaining about the weather again, because the Democrats have made the weather a part of their political agenda. It's quite remarkable. Yes, it is. And we are, of course, available at 888-630-9625. Joe Biden is doing such a great job that the headline in the Washington Post, the lead story, front page, upper right-hand corner, is Fears of All-Out War in Middle East. That's the lead story of the Washington Post, Fears of All-Out War in Middle East. Israel-Lebanon tensions escalate. That's because Lebanon keeps firing rockets into Israel in an effort to murder people in the name of Islam, radical Islamic jihadi Islam, honestly. Gallant in D.C. amid threats from Hezbollah. Hezbollah, that's the party of Allah, and they're here to murder everybody and to create global war. And Joe Biden is up at Camp David in an iron lung. He's apparently in a coma, but they're pumping him full of Prevagen. It's just a rumor, the coma thing. But he's in a coma most of the time, so not a thing. So now we're looking at the front page. See, we told you, Washington Post, all-out war in the Middle East. I remember all-out peace in the Middle East. That was when Donald Trump was living in the White House and creating peace deals between Israel and Arab nations. And they named a community after Donald Trump in Israel. And he was on the precipice, the brink of creating a peace deal between Israel and Saudi Arabia, which is where they have Mecca and Medina, the two holiest mosques in all of Islam. And the Hajj this month is the month of the Hajj. And it turns out in Saudi Arabia, because it's a big desert, I spent several months there one time, and it's very warm there in the summertime, as it turns out. And people are making the Hajj, which is an obligation if you're a Muslim person at some point in your life. And apparently they got, 1,300 dead. 1,300 dead at the Hajj. And the news media is paying attention to it this year because they're blaming climate change. It's climate change. Now, people die in droves during the Hajj every year going to Mecca, go see the Kaaba, all that stuff. I'd like to do it myself, as a global point of interest, but I'm not invited. I'm not welcome to because I'm not a Muslim, and I'm not Jewish. So speaking of Jewish, the Democrats continue to attack Jews all over America. It's a pretty amazing thing. They apparently, the Democrat Party, they don't like the Jews. They should be wearing armbands at this point. The Democrats, so we can spot them in public. So we know if they're sitting next to you at a restaurant or something. I think Jewish people are entitled to know. If you have these Jew-hating Democrats sitting next to you in restaurants or driving, and they drive around with surgical masks while alone in their cars, maybe they should be wearing their armbands too, identifying themselves as, Democrats who are a threat to civilization itself. Amazing stuff. Speaking of the White House and Jew-hating and all that stuff, the Democrats, the White House announced over the weekend that they have a new guy. What is he? The Associate Communications Director at the White House. And he's, I guess, like a transgender, cross-dressing, gender dysphoric, gender fluid person. And he is quite mad. He says that the police in the United States come from slave patrols, and the guy wants to abolish ICE. He wants to abolish ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, so I guess he's an open borders guy. And his name is Tyler Cherry, not Tyler Perry, Tyler Cherry. Tyler Cherry is, I'm going to leave alone. I'm not going to tell the joke I just thought of. Tyler Cherry is now serving as Associate Communications Director at the White House. And he said the police are slave patrols. He wants to abolish ICE, and he is a sexual freak with all the pictures that are posted online. You can see them. They're quite abnormal, I think, is the correct description. Pretty amazing stuff. But the guy, and he posts these pictures. I bet he hangs out with Sam Brinton. He looks like a guy that goes on vacation with Sam Brinton, I think. Just a freakazoid, a sexual freakazoid. And he is now he was at the Interior Department. He didn't understand what it meant to be at the Interior Department until after he had worked there for several months. He thought it was something else altogether. So he was the Interior Department Communications Director, and now he's been promoted and hired in the White House to, be the Biden White House guy, and the White House, where we used to think of it as a proud place to work. But amazing stuff. The Tyler Cherry. He sparked controversy last year. Social media photos surfaced which he blasted law enforcement, and the photos too. And he's promoting Russiagate. He's a big promoter of Russiagate, which is another Nazi-scale lie. Why they hate the Jews, and then they have all these Nazi-scale lies. It's amazing. And he's anti-capitalist. He hates capitalism. Amazing stuff. He wants the capitalistic police state. It's motivated by implicit racial biases. He said this is now in the communications department at the White House, talking about Freddie Gray, the local neighborhood heroin dealer in Baltimore that was not killed by the police, but they charged 6 police officers. I think they were all officers of color, and then they were all found not guilty, but never mind that. But he says the modern-day police system is a direct evolution of slave patrols and lynch mobs. Oh, so Democrats? Because, you guys, I'm telling you, just amazing stuff. Democrats and bullwhips, between the slave patrols and Robert Mapplethorpe. The Democrats have a lot of uses for bullwhips, but never mind that. And he called Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security, agency. He said that they ought to be abolished, got to abolish ICE. He supports Palestine, he says, and he supports Hamas over Israel, so he's a Jew hater, an anti-Semite, genocidal lunatic, and now he's in the communications department at the White House. Yes. Cheersing in bars. Not cheering, but cheersing, he wrote. Cheersing, so he's communications guy, you know. Cheersing in bars to ending the occupation of Palestine. No shame and beep your glares. That's F word, your glares. Pound sign, I support Gaza. Pound sign, free Palestine. He's tweeting. He's not on the side of Western civilization, but he is a cross-dressing Democrat in good standing with the mentally ill. I got to tell you, Republican Party says focused on white grievance politics. Oh, just go fix the weather and leave us alone. The Tea Party was never about debt and deficit, but about racism and white grievance. It's what he said. And now he's been promoted to the White House because these little fascist freak shows are, they've got a lot of mental issues, but they're okay with that, and so am I. You know, just don't get a job in the White House or government, any place you have influence, anything like that. Amazing stuff. And in the meantime, we opened with a soundbite of Kamala Harris from Morning Joke, embarrassing herself and all of us once again. She apparently has a husband. She's married to a white man, which is racist. He's a white supremacist, racist, and he's not, of course, but that's what they call white people. VP Harris's husband tells CBS News, he said, literally, our country and our world depends on us winning this election. The demented sense of self-importance that the Democrats bring to the dance, amazing. They call him the second gentleman, which might be the worst title in Washington. Doug Emhoff is his name, husband of Vice President Kamala Harris, said Sunday that Democrats have to win the election. They must win the election this year because the world itself literally depends on it. He used the word literally. I don't think he knows what that word means. They use the words, but they don't know what they mean. Emhoff was naturally profiled and fluffed by CBS News national correspondent Rita Braver for CBS Sunday Morning, naturally, and they had nice birds chirping, and it was very propagandistic stuff. The fluff job was deep and abiding, extraordinary. And he is telling everyone that the world itself, the country and the world, depend on them winning the election. They don't win the election, the world ends. So the stakes are high. Keep in mind that the stakes are high. Not that that causes Democrats to do anything crazy, like show up outside of Supreme Court justices' homes with guns and burglary tools and kidnapping tools and extra magazines of ammo, or to self-immolate at the Supreme Court, or to self-immolate at the Israeli embassy, or to shoot Congressman Steve Scalise on a baseball field, or anything like that. Doesn't cause Democrats to do anything crazy in order to loot your neighborhood or carjack your grandmother. Amazing, amazing things. So this is the rhetoric of the American left, of the American Democratic Party. Very unwell, violently, criminally insane, suffering from sexual dysphoria, gender dysphoria. Remarkable stuff, your Democrat Party. Where is Sam Brinton these days? He was in charge of nuclear waste at the Department of Energy, and he liked to steal women's luggage at airports and dress in their clothing and post pictures of himself dressed in the stolen clothing on the internet. And has he gotten a show on MSNBC yet? Because I got to figure. Amazing stuff. We've got a lot going on today. A big Democrat judge in Atlanta, Georgia, was arrested in a very violent arrest in Atlanta after she punched a police officer in the head. And she ended up in the Fulton County Jail where, 10 inmates died in a short period of time in the Fulton County Jail. That's where they brought President Trump, of course. Everything the Democrats touch turns to death and mayhem and, of course, gender dysphoria. Honestly, amazing things going on today thanks to them. Pro-Palestinian violent mob showed up at in front of a synagogue in Los Angeles and violently attacked the Jews because with Democrats, every Nacht is Kristallnacht. Keep that in mind. Amazing stuff. And in Nassau County, New York, they're looking to ban men from competing against women. The Democrats are furious about that because they don't know what gender is anymore. They've got a Supreme Court justice who's a woman and can't tell you what a woman is. She is a woman. I can tell her that she's a woman. It's an adult female human being. That's a woman. Amazing stuff. And our Olympic team is having to bring their own air conditioning to Paris for the Olympics because, you know, the French don't mind being sweaty and smelly, as everyone knows. Just ask Pepe Le Pew. Yeah, and this freakazoid, Tyler Cherry, let's just say, has to be fired. Shouldn't be working for the federal government or the White House, certainly. But these commie America, Jew-hating lunatics in the Democrat Party, I got to tell you, more and more demented and almost impossible to believe with each passing day. But, you know, Democrats, that's what they are. They're not what they used to be. All right, let's grab a phone call. Let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Matt calling from St. Louis, Missouri. Matthew, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. Happy Juneteenth by White House calendar standards in Confederate Topia. Hey, so these recent Biden videos, here's what's going on. The Democult Party, the Demon Cult Party is very worried about Joe making it through these upcoming debates, the rest of the election. And God forbid 4 more years in the White House for the 4th term of the Obama bin Biden administration.
Yep.
So they've launched Project Creep Fake. And what we're seeing, these videos are the Project Creep Fake. It's an animatronic AI Biden prototype. And in this case, AI stands for artificial incompetence or artificial incoherence. And they've already got an update plan coming out. It's going to be the Creepfake 2.0, and it's going to sniff hair. It's going to sniff hair. It's going to assault interns, and it's going to shower with daughters. So they're looking forward to that. They're hoping it comes out before the debate.
Well, and, you know, Tara Reid, who she wasn't just an intern like Monica Lewinsky with the Democrats sexually abusing interns, and as they've done many times on Capitol Hill and beyond. But she was an employee in his office that he sexually assaulted. All right. So much news, so little time. They give me way too much stuff. Now, I want to go to some MSDNC. MSDNC did a lot of crazy stuff. As they always do over the weekend. They have a lot of racists there and anti-Semites, and they're all anti-American. Many of them anti-capitalist, even though they all make $1 million a year. But never mind that or more. And remarkable stuff going on over there at MSDNC. There is a great guy who is the head of the Heritage Foundation, whose name is Kevin Roberts. And Kevin Roberts was invited on MSDNC, and then he went on MSDNC. Kind of an amazing thing to do because, you know, they're going to try to steal your car and kill your children. That's what they do. But Heritage Foundation, he's a PhD, but, you know, a real PhD, American history because he loves America and he's on our side. Remarkable stuff. And Kevin Roberts said when he got an invitation from MSDNC, said, yeah, sure, I'll come on MSDNC. What do you want to talk about? Well, the headlines are like this. MSNBC panel erupts after Heritage Foundation president blasts crime committed by illegal aliens. And he used the term illegal aliens, and that caused them to have a psychosexual quasi-mental breakdown. It can only be quasi because they're already in the state of a mental breakdown. MSNBC hosts, unbelievable, chafed at how to refer to migrants who enter the country illegally and commit crimes during a testy exchange with Heritage Foundation president Kevin Roberts on Saturday. The liberal, this is the New York Post I'm reading from, the liberal network's hosts were eager to grill Kevin Roberts about Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, which is an initiative intended to outline an agenda for former President Donald Trump should he win a second term. It's become something of a boogeyman enterprise among progressives, that is to say, anti-American left-wing radical, mostly racist lunatics. And it's an amazing thing. Now, MSNBC anchor Alicia Menendez is the anchor woman. Now, who is she? Well, she's the daughter of Democrat Senator Bob Menendez, also known as Gold Bars Menendez, because he is under indictment for being a crook up the yin-yang with stacks of gold bars in his home, and the FBI searched through his jackets hanging in the front hall closet, and all the jackets have pockets stuffed with cash, jacket after jacket after jacket stuffed with cash, gold bars over here, the Mercedes-Benz in the driveway that was given to his wife as a gift by, a crook, apparently. FBI still wheedling their way in on that. Kind of remarkable thing. He infuriated the Democrat Party, so the FBI came after him. It happens from time to time when they offend their own party. That's what goes on. So let's go to some audio on that. MSDNC fanker woman. She's not a journalist at all. Alicia Menendez, who just got the job because her father is a crooked Democrat senator, and that's how filthy corrupt our news media is. Now, Kevin Roberts is a very bright guy, very smart guy, PhD American history and Heritage Foundation. I mean, come on. He's on our side, which is one of the things that the Democrats hate more than anything. So here it is, MSDNC on Saturday with disgraced Democrat daughter Alicia Menendez and a great American and a great thinker, Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation.
The deportation of immigrants in this country, just understanding sort of how it is going to work. When we talk about folks on the interior, how you see a future administration utilizing the National Guard, ICE, police forces to deport something like 11 million people.
Yeah, and President Trump has talked about mass deportation. I'm in favor of mass deportations. A CBS News poll found that a majority of Latino Americans are in favor of mass deportations. Texting with my friend Luis Quinones yesterday, an immigrant from Guatemala, and we've been friends for more than a decade, and he is in favor of mass deportations. I was telling a story on Friday here on the radio about a friend of mine, Jose, who's from Peru, who is in favor of mass deportations. He came here legally. They both came here illegally. Remarkable stuff. And now the news media, they're quite furious. Boy, are they furious. So great stuff. The Daily Signal has a wonderful story. Rob Bluey on the appearance. Heritage President Kevin Roberts schools MSNBC hosts on illegal immigration and Project 2025. Now, you heard the question there. Oh, how dare you talking about deporting illegal aliens who are illegally in the country illegally?
Well, first of all, we need to close the border. And secondly, we need to have the biggest mass deportation system ever in the history of America, because it is unjust and illegal and evil that more than 10 million illegal aliens have come to this country. It's imperative that we send those people back, invite them back to come through the legal system. We love immigrants at Heritage, but we also love the rule of law. Yeah,
there's one adult in the room. Isn't that great? I did something crazy yesterday when I was talking to my friend Luis Quinones, texting back and forth. And he's talking about the, 10, 11, maybe 12 million. We really don't know because all the gotaways, and the gotaways are approximations and stuff. But I looked up on the CDC website, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They're also interested in prevention. And not just control. They don't want to just control the disease. They want to prevent it. See, like the Wuhan Red Death, like they controlled the Wuhan Red Death. Sieg Heil, Deutschland, über alles. And I looked up on the CDC website. 2021 and 2022 and 2023 look pretty consistent. there were about live births. I looked at live births as opposed to the ones that the Democrats got, and they killed them. More than 1 million last year, abortions, and some that 40% of the black population. Then they call everybody Nazis. They wipe out 1 million helpless infants a year just in the United States, and then they try to export it all over the world too. And then they call you a Nazi. It's kind of amazing. They exterminate about 40% of the black population in the womb every year, and then they call you a Nazi. They attack the Jews at a synagogue in Los Angeles, and then they call you a Nazi. They're chanting and cheering from the river to the sea about wiping Israel out, and then they call you a Nazi. It's no sense of irony, as I pointed out before. But never mind that. I looked it up, and it turns out there are about CDC numbers, 3.6 million live births every year, the ones that got through the Democrats' torpedo nets here. About 3.6 million live births in the United States every year. And how many illegal aliens are coming into the country at the same time? Because if we hit 12 million over the course of 4 years, then, and we may have already, then that's 3 million a year. 3 million illegal aliens, adults, mostly men, a lot of them gang members, human traffickers, sex traffickers, drug traffickers, gang members, murdering women across America, raping and killing 12-year-olds. And all that. And the Democrats shrug, and they call you a racist if you mention it. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, it is. So, honestly, if we get 12 million over the 4 years of illegal aliens coming into the country, over the 4 years of Joe Biden's terrible, horrible, tragic presidency, and then you look at the number of live births in the United States, they're almost keeping pace, live births. Just don't call it a replacement theory. Remember, it was the Russian collusion theory, the laptop theory, the Wuhan origin theory, right? They lie about pretty much everything. Then back to MSDNC. Pretty amazing stuff. Symone Sanders, who is a radical, and she used to work, radical leftist, she used to work for the Bernie Sanders campaign, no relation that we know of. Remarkable stuff. And the things that they're upset with and the things that they aren't. So
how do you plan to carry that out?
Well,
are you talking about going door to door? Because that's what I could read from the plan, but I think
the first thing is that there's going to be a lot of self-deportation. The interesting thing, as you no doubt know, is that simply talking about this and beginning to implement a plan, and President Trump deserves a lot of credit for talking about this, causes people to say, I don't want to run the risk of being arrested for doing something illegal. Right. And I've talked about this before, and you announced we're going to start mass deportations, and a lot of people are just going to say, all right, our ball of string has run out here. I'm going to head back home and get back with the gang and the prison there and, all the good drug trafficking that I do and stuff. Kevin Roberts ventured into unfriendly territory Saturday morning to face hostile questions from MSDNC hosts Symone Sanders. She now goes by Symone Sanders Townsend. I don't understand that. And Michael Steele. This masterful performance exposed the radical views on immigration and scaremongering about Project 2025. I'm very sad about what's happened to Michael Steele. Michael Steele, former Republican RNC chair and a guy I worked with over time. I always liked Michael Steele, but I think he got one of those brain worms that Robert F. Kennedy got.
So what do these people do? What are they doing now?
Which people?
The folks, the 11 million, 20 million, whatever you want to deport.
A lot of them are committing crimes like murdering the 12-year-old girl in Houston. In fact,
so that's
we're very
one. That's
about
one
that.
Out of 11 million. What is the?
We can take the remaining time of the segment, and I can give you a lot of examples.
In Texas, undocumented immigrants were 37.1% less likely to be convicted of a crime. Undocumented immigrants, and according to a survey, University of California Riverside study, 33% less likely to be in prison as of 2021. I'm just giving the numbers.
Yeah, it's very precise. It's very scientific. They're 37.1%, not just 37, not 40% or 38%, 37.1%, very scientific, very convincing, percent less likely to commit a crime. Oh, okay. So all these crimes are reported, and the thefts and the sexual assaults and the lootings and the crime number one, you came into the country illegally. You likely lied in many ways, but no, she's got, and if you watch MSDNC and you think you're getting your news, you can go tell your friends. Illegal aliens, as everyone knows, according to scientific research, 37.1% less likely to commit a crime. Yeah, that's what's going on. Sure, I know all about it. How about Rachel Morin? Go talk to Rachel Morin's family. She was raped and killed in Maryland, not a border state. Mother of 5 children by one of your savages, one of your animals, one of your 37.1% less likely. And the 12-year-old girl, Joycelyn Nungari, in Texas. And it's not like these are isolated incidents, you know. We've got Laken Riley in Georgia, 22-year-old nursing student, Ruby Garcia, who was murdered by an illegal alien. We had the manhunt for the illegal alien in Pennsylvania who stabbed the woman more times than they could count and then escaped from jail and went on the run. We captured the illegal alien in New Hampshire who had escaped from prison in Brazil after being convicted of murdering 11 people. And then he's here. And here is, now the media is the Democratic Party, certainly in this case and in so many cases. And they lie and they lie and they lie, but they lay down cover smoke for all the killers and the gang members and the child rapists. Of course, the child rape is a Democrat Party thing too. Just see Jeffrey Epstein, who didn't kill himself, and there's Bill Clinton, and the list goes on and on. Anthony Weiner with the 15-year-old girl online, creepy boy, Michael Steele.
This is absurdity. The preponderance of these people, Michael, are male.
But what is the difference between an illegal immigrant who unfortunately engages in that activity?
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So undocumented individuals.
They're illegal aliens.
Undocumented individuals.
Yes. We don't call them illegal. We call them undocumented individuals. And then they rape and kill the mother of 5, and they rape and kill the 12-year-old girl. And what do? We attack you for using the term that is used by the U.S. government to describe the people that we're talking about. Aliens are people that are here from other countries and are not U.S. citizens. And if they're here illegally, then they're illegal aliens, and that's what they're called by the U.S. government, including Joe Biden's U.S. government, Symone Sanders.
I just would say, and if Alicia were sitting here and you could hear her, she would say that you are weaponizing a horrific murder to smear 11 million people.
That is a laughable assertion. What Joe Biden is doing is weaponizing the entire government.
Before we let you go, Dr. Roberts, I do want to ask you about abortion because it is.
You should have been aborted. That's I don't know what's wrong with your mother. She made a bad decision. Well, these people are, that's it. So he didn't, and then on to the next agenda talking point, little fascist, well, not little to be fair. Symone Sanders, the fascistas, just amazing people. Michael Steele, what a sad story. Michael, so sad, so sorry for you. Used to be this. Now you've become that. That makes me sad. Symone Sanders, you're always that. Commie, America hating. Oh, you're smearing 11 million people. No, I'm trying to, keep maybe even you from being murdered. Why don't you go for a long walk in New York? The sunsets are beautiful, I hear, but better be someplace safe by the time that's over with. You're a Democrat Party. And now I want to abort, and they just talk over you. They don't listen to you. There's just amazing stuff. Our media. I'm catching a little grief saying, well, you should have been aborted to Symone Sanders. True, her mother made a decision to keep her, and, every life is valuable, even Symone Sanders, as hard as it is to say that out loud. But keep in mind, and Kevin Roberts probably should have said this too, the crimes that the 11 million people committed starts with coming illegally into the country. And then every day they wake up in the country, and every day when they wake up, they're breaking the law because they're here illegally. Honestly, it's like driving a stolen car every day. Aren't you breaking the law every day? You stole the car a year ago, but you're still driving the car every day. Aren't you still breaking the law every day? And you came in illegally. Step one, you wake up illegally every day. Let's go to Neil calling from Brooklyn, New York. Neil, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey.
I want to corroborate what you said about Symone Sanders' life being valuable, because what would Satan do without her?
She is on Team Satan. They're all on Team Satan. After school Satan Club. They love Satan.
Right. The reason I called, just quickly to pose a question, how is it that these undocumented aliens are also documented criminals? Can you be both? Because we can document the hell out of their criminality.
You're getting so technical, so semantic. You know, sure, their crimes, their murders, the child rapes are documented. So now they're documented immigrants, right? I mean, that's true. Semantically, I think that's correct, right, Neil?
I just want to leave that little thought bomb out there, because there's plenty about them that's documented, when in fact the term of legal art is criminal illegal aliens. And I wish that Mr. Heritage Foundation had just been a little bit more forceful.
Yeah, he was kind of mellow and not brutal enough. Should have been more brutal.